It's live now.
Oh, yeah, I like how the Live Now does now. Because Live Now is back to being a bot, but it does it better, I think. Because it doesn't just keep making posts and you just have like live down. It will make a post, and once you're done being live, the post is deleted. So it's kind of cool. So so that channel isn't just bogged down with just posts about us being live, which is cool. Because I also have the links for all the other like video type stuff. So I mean, that's sticky stuff, but I know most people probably don't even know how to access stickies on Discord.
I was gonna share this to my personal profile, but you know what? I'm sharing it to somewhere else. I'll share it on Twitter. Why not? Twitter's the thing today.
But yeah, I was playing Red Dead, and all of a sudden my monitor, keyboard, and mouse just turned off, but my computer was still on.
That's not good.
And people said it might be a power supply thing, which I'd rather it be that, because power supplies are not the most expensive part of a computer. So if it is a problem that I need to fix, then I'd rather it be that than like having to replace a GPU. But I was like, okay, the screen would turn off if the GPU went out, but the GPU light was still on, right? So, but the GPU doesn't control the keyboard, so kind of doing the kind of troubleshooting thinking that our kids do not do at all.
Nope. Well, there's a pre-show, so me and my ice. I learned troubleshooting because I worked for Gateway, and how to quickly figure out where the problem might be. Mm-hmm. Is a skill that I learned working for Gateway. I don't only really work for Gateway for maybe 2 months before they shut the whole fucking thing down. So, but yeah, that the troubleshooting skill is a great fucking skill to have, bruh. There's so many times where, because I used to be really into computers. Yeah, and then
consoles came out.
I kind of got out of it. I kind of got out of it because I couldn't really afford to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like I've had several PCs in my life, but remember, I didn't get my first PC until like 01, I think. No, it was 99.
Well, we had a family PC in like 97, which was a basic compact, but
there was no such thing for your boy.
But I didn't get my own computer until I graduated high school, like an actual adult.
The first computer in the house was mine. But at that time I wasn't living at home. Mm-hmm. I was living with my grandma, and my aunt actually got the computer for me, and I just paid her every month.
Oh, okay.
So it was one of those type deals.
I've told
my aunt whose birthday is today. Rest in peace to my aunt. Her birthday is today. Also, my ex's birthday is today. And I sent her a message. I was like your birthday is on the day where fucking Facebook is gone for most of the day, so you can't even receive all your love all day.
Mm. Yeah.
So that was just kind of crazy, but like, yeah. Shout out to my aunt, man. She was a very, very important figure in helping shape who I am as a person. Because remember, I lost my mom when I was like super young. I lost my mom when I was 7. Mm-hmm. So like, it's those people like my stepmom, my aunt, my grandma. Also, rest in peace. Like those women really kind of like filled that void for me collectively. Mm-hmm. Filled a little bit of that void for me. Well, I can't even say a little bit. They completely filled that void for me because, of course, I was too young to understand what the void was. You know what I mean? Like I don't, when you're 7 and you lose your mom, it's not the same as if you lost your mom like my sister did, where she was 14, 15. It's different. It's different when you're a little bit more of age. I think honestly, I had it easier than she did because I got to grow into my understanding. It didn't all hit me at once. And of course, with her being older than me, like it hit her a lot, and I don't know what I would have done if I was in that situation. How do you get out of that? It's just weird. Thinking about my family makes me like have like the warm and fuzzies, but then like the thought that they're gone really kind of makes you feel kind of down. But then the warm and fuzzies come back up because it makes you remember what these people meant to you. Like in that type of thing. That's the kind of thing that kind of holds you down. So yeah, and yeah, I think I'm done on this one. I don't want to be sad today.
Right. This boogie back to a little bit. One thing I was going to say, and then we'll move on from the PC talk. But I did notice when I was looking in like a catalog for, it was like not a Sears, but something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been somewhere that sells some computers and stuff that's not a computer store. But it seems like technology moves really fast when you have basic technology. Like my computer isn't the best of the best, but it's decent. Not until now do I really feel like I might want to upgrade. But I still am playing like Red Dead and things like that, not feeling like, oh man, this is unplayable. It's playable and fine, but like it's not, if you have something decent, not the best of the best, at least decent, I think it will carry you at least a few years, But if you buy something from Wayfair, it's going to like the next year, that 1 gigahertz computer is already like 7 years behind when you buy it.
Yeah, if you buy something from Wayfair, like those cabinets with kidnapped children in them, that's a conspiracy theory I wasn't supposed to say.
Well, I think it turned out to like some of the people that were supposedly kidnapped or not kidnapped. They were like coming out and being like, "Yeah, I'm not dead. I'm me. I'm right here." I know.
I just thought that whole thing was crazy. I thought that whole thing was crazy, and then I had my own issues with Wayfair. But it wasn't even like issues that were mine.
Mm-hmm.
I told you about the Wayfair thing, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so a good little while ago, back when I was still in a relationship with my ex, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, even though you don't listen. Her and I were talking about buying a TV stand.
Okay.
She wanted a nice TV stand, and we're having a conversation, and she's showing me things that she's interested in her phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all in her phone. She's showing me stuff that she's interested in her phone. And so, for some reason, the next day, I'm on Facebook, and I'm getting a ton of Wayfair ads for TV stands on my phone.
Right.
Like, I never used my phone for any of this. Like, she was just showing me what she was interested in, and we were talking about it, whatever. That just proves to me, that was the first time that I really knew for certain that our phones are listening to us.
Yeah.
It's crazy. My phone be listening to me at work. My boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is a Syracuse fan. He went to Syracuse for undergrad. He's into he's into football. He's into basketball. He's very much into the basketball team, and he's also into a little bit of lacrosse and some of the other sports, right? But he's all about Syracuse. A little bit of UNC because he went to grad school at UNC. He would come to me and I'm that guy. I'm just friendly and I strike up conversations or whatever like that. So he started talking to me about Syracuse stuff. And he does this all the time. Just comes and talks to me about Syracuse stuff. And it's not anything that I personally like even remotely kind of care about, but it's something that he's very passionate about. So I just let him run. You know what I mean? He's my boss. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Let him do his thing. He wants to talk about it. I have conversations and I do my best to try to make it relatable to something that I care about, which is the NBA. Mm-hmm. Like he talks about basketball a whole lot. Jim Boeheim is like everything to him. Like fuck. But like yeah, he comes to talk to me about Syracuse stuff a lot. And my phone is sitting right there on the desk. I usually don't use my phone very much during work. And the next thing I know, Google is like suggesting me all of these fucking Syracuse articles. It's just like, well, I didn't look up any of this shit. He was just telling me about it.
Right.
And every fucking time I get a whole bunch of Syracuse stuff. It's creepy. It's really fucking creepy. All right, so you ready to start the show?
We might as well,
Take a sip.
Should I get me a sip before I start the show? Because
that's just really, really flat Sprite. Ain't nothing special. It's really flat Sprite.
Well, I'm out of Dr. Pepper. Let me go get some before you start the show. Dog. For the reels.
The real.
Well, before we completely start the show, I want to tell you something. That I almost pulled a you during one of your podcasts, but I wasn't late, and it didn't happen during the podcast, but I thought it was going to affect the podcast. But last Crucial Core, before that, I had made a mac and cheese from scratch, like in the Instapot, and I was like, it was for the kids and stuff, and I was like, wow. That mac and cheese looks good. So I had a little bit of...
Shit?
Yeah.
You got the shits before a podcast. You see? That's unprofessional, sir.
You did that... Well, okay, that was during the game night. Never mind.
That was during the game night. I try to stay away from cheese and shit like that. If I ain't got no lactate or nothing like that, I stay away from dairy before the podcast. After the podcast, all fucking bets are off, sir. I got some fucking birthday cake ice cream sandwiches downstairs that are a fucking hit. And I miss those things because I stopped buying them for a while because I stopped seeing them in Walmart. And I saw some the other day and I was like, hell yeah. I've been eating 2 of them shits a day.
Yeah, man, that mac and cheese looked like award-winning mac and cheese. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I gotta try it at least since I made it.
Yeah, I had a homegirl who was telling me about her issues with cheese and dairy products, and she said like that shit put her in the hospital. And I'm like, yo, I was like, apparently, what happens to her is the complete opposite of what happens to me.
Yeah, that's the normal. That's normal to get constipated. Like cheese constipates you normally, but like for us, it's the opposite. But maybe hers was just a little bit too normal.
Maybe that shit was. Yeah, she was telling me about that and being in the hospital and all kinds of shit. That shit was crazy. That shit sounded crazy. Like, yo, fucking cheese put you in the hospital, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that's some real shit.
Yeah, it didn't always be like that for me for cheese. It just got more. Like, it was if I drink straight up milk, yeah, it'll do me. But like cheese, ice cream, something like that, it wouldn't really do me that much. But now it's like anything, and which sucks because I love dairy, man.
See, here's one thing. I didn't notice I had a problem until during the summers of one of the years that I was in high school, when I was old enough to get a work permit. I think I was 15, and it was during the summer, and I was on doing like the summer lunch program around here. I worked for the company that does the summer lunch programs around here, around home. And like, at the end of the day, like, there's just a bunch of shit left. So like, bring a book bag, put you some chocolate milks in there, and you could take home a little bit of what's left, and that type of shit. So I'd just take home a bunch of chocolate milk, and I'd be drinking that shit like it was fucking water. And I just kept noticing that I just kept pooping, like, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. But I didn't actually put those things together for a while. But that's when I first noticed that it was doing something to me, and I didn't know exactly what it was at that point. Later on.
Yeah, because sometimes you might just chalk it up. It's just one of those days, you know what I mean? You might eat some Taco Bell, you might get cleaned out, you know what I mean? And it's just sometimes you get cleaned out. And sometimes you need to get cleaned out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, at school for lunch, we had multiple cafeterias at my high school, and each cafeteria has two lines. You have the line of whatever the food was that day, so you can go there and whatever was popping that day, that's what they had. But then there was the other side. It was like the cheeseburger and the pizza and all of that kind of stuff. That shit was there every fucking day. So like usually I would just get a fucking cheeseburger and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no reason for me to, like, a lot of that stuff that was on the other side is not really stuff that I cared about. So, like, you got pizza and you got cheeseburger over here every day? Nigga, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm over there. Holla at your boy. So, like, for a long time, I didn't put this shit together, but eventually I did. I did when I started, when there's a restaurant that I really like, the Andrea's in Hampton, and they serve these strombolis. And these strombolis are massive, like huge strombolis. And a stromboli is basically a rolled up pizza with no sauce in it.
Right.
So like most of what's filling that thing is cheese. And like I would have some issues. Like I would eat that stuff and eat like I'll eat like a half or something like that, and then like later on that night, like it was like it's like how you feel when you get too drunk, and then the after effects of like throwing up and all that kind of shit, like that shit. It was that, except for with my ass. Yeah. And then you do the whole thing where it's just like, oh my god, if I just get through this, I'll never do this again. And then you do it again, and then it happens again, and then you're like, fuck, why is this happening to me? And then you realize, oh, I do got a problem with all this cheese. This cheese is the issue. So let me deal with this cheese stuff. So yeah, all right, you ready to start the show?
Sam just said that Back 4 Blood could be our game, but I don't know if it's cross-platform, and I told him that it is. So, and Back 4 Blood is definitely going to be a lot of us' game for a little bit.
Where do you say that at?
Oh, he just texted me.
Oh.
But yeah, it's been...
You said Sam said that?
Yeah.
Y'all be texting? Is that why he don't text me no more?
we were talking about Halo and stuff, and I was like, yeah,
Okay.
But
Back 4 Blood. It comes out this week, right?
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
I believe so. I believe it's the. No, hold on. It's the.
But yeah, look at that. Because we were talking about Destiny. Because I was like, even if we're just like fucking around in the open world, just doing bounties or something. Destiny could be a game for a game night, even if we're not doing anything serious, because it's cross-play, it's fun, the mechanics are fun, even if you're just fucking around. And he's like, well, we can do that in Back 4 Blood 2, which is true. But I'm just...
comes out on the 12th.
I'm just trying to find a good cross-play game that we can all just like veg out on for game nights. That's not too serious.
No, the only problem with not Back 4 Blood with Destiny is like the cap on how many people you can have.
Yeah,
but I think what the hit is really gonna be. Let me start the show first.
Okay.
Let me start the show.
Yeah, because we've been recording live for 20 minutes, and the only thing we've been talking about is pooping. We wonder why people ain't watching this on Twitch.
Okay. First of all, people ain't watching this on Twitch because Facebook was down, and you normally post it on Facebook, and that's usually when Blue finds out. No, I don't know when Blue finds out, but usually you post it on Facebook earlier that day. But Facebook has been down all day. It just came back recently, so like. The funny thing is, like, all of the Twitter people complaining about the Facebook people. Here's the thing about the Twitter people complaining about Facebook people.
Okay. Start the show?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna start the show, but this is gonna be a part of the show. This is a part of the show. Y'all do fucking realize that we first, right? That we were Twitter first, right? A lot of us left Twitter and went to Facebook, but we all started on Twitter. I mean, outside of like MySpace and, you know, for niggas Black Planet and shit like that. But let's be honest, like Twitter is where all of this shit started. And back when a lot of us was on Twitter, Facebook was only for like school kids. You couldn't even sign on to a fucking Facebook account unless you had a school email account.
Yeah, I mean,
so we were all
Twitter's Twitter, like the new guard now, but like Twitter is part of the old guard for the internet, you know. Facebook is like where really like straight up normies are, you know. You like your grandma and them, they ain't on Twitter, you know what I mean? So like it's I mean it's a shell of what it used to be, but it's still I mean that and Reddit still have that feel of old internet.
Yeah. Okay, so let me I'm gonna remind me talk about Twitter Spaces. Remind me that. So let's start the show.
All right.
So this is a running start. He said, "What did my family say about last week's show?" I completely forgot to send them the link. I truly did. I was supposed to send my mama the link, and I completely fucking forgot. Yeah, that happened. Okay, so what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scarfinger. This is Scarcasm. Chase is in the building. We already had a running start. Everything, you know, it's pandemonium out here in these streets. Facebook and WhatsApp, and I don't know nobody
Instagram.
who uses WhatsApp like that. Instagram was down. I know people who use Instagram like that. I don't know too many people who use WhatsApp like that. But I know WhatsApp is a really big thing overseas. Like really, really big thing overseas. So like that was down most of the day, and I was out here on these Twitter streets, bruh. Like it was weird because I was out in the wild on Twitter because I ain't had nothing else better to do sitting at work. It got about halfway through the day, it got a little bit boring. But so like I was out here on these Twitter streets, and y'all know me, I don't really roam the Twitter streets that often. Like I may lurk sometimes, but I don't really be out here on these Twitter streets like that. I stay in my mentions. I stay to myself. I don't bother with nobody. I'll say something every once in a while. But I'm going to tell you something that I did last week on Twitter. This is my Twitter Spaces, so you don't have to remind me. I was, you know, I have a few friends who do the Twitter Spaces thing. Do you know what Twitter Spaces is?
Is that where you like make a list of people you actually want to see their stuff of?
No. Twitter Spaces is basically like it's like what's the app where you can just talk? Clubhouse. It's like Clubhouse, but for your Twitter people. And so you make a room and people can come in and like you can request to talk and all of this kind of stuff. And so I was home not really doing anything one day. Actually, it might have been. No, I can't really tell you what day it was. So I was at home and I wasn't really doing anything. I think so it said in my Twitter popped up and said that Rashani was in a Twitter space. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll join Rashani and see what's up. And it was a Twitter space run by a couple of people. The main lady who was running it, her name is Pixie. She is a podcaster, and she is also she's a retired stripper. And she has a podcast and everything like that. But it was about podcast marketing and like getting yourself out there and all of that kind of stuff. So I just joined and I was just kind of listening. It's just one of those things where you just kind of listen to see what everybody's talking about. And a lot of the people were like new people who didn't know what to do with their podcast. Some people are like those kind of weird perfectionist types that keep making a podcast and then deleting it because they don't feel like it's good enough. That type of thing. So I sat there and I listened, and then Rashani talked for a little bit, and Rashani was like kind of helping people out. And it was just kind of a cool atmosphere. I was just listening to people tell their stories and the stories behind their podcasts and such. And then Rashani left because he had to go to a practice for his son. Rashani is a basketball dad, and he's also a basketball coach. So he left to go deal with that. And I'm just kind of like, well, I'm not doing anything, so I'm just going to sit here. And people just kind of started talking. And they started talking about a lot of things that, as someone who's been a podcaster for so long, like I actually have the answers to. Like, I'm not really like the guy that you're going to talk to or how to market your podcast. That ain't me. That ain't me. But like when you talk about the ups and downs of a podcast, how you feel about your podcast, how you feel about yourself, how do you get yourself to the point to where you can do one of these and all of this kind of stuff. And it got to the point to whereas I'm just like, I think I'm ready to speak now. And I have been in Twitter spaces before.
Okay.
I have never spoken on a Twitter space. And so they put me on and they let me talk.
Uh-huh.
And I talked so much and I was dropping so many jewels that the lady who was in charge of it, Pixie, was just kind of like, I don't think I have anything else to say here. Because I was being honest with them. I was being encouraging. I sat there and I listened to these people talk. And there was this one lady who was talking about like thinking that her podcast was not good enough. So she kept deleting podcasts. And I said, never delete your podcast. And then it was like, you expect this to be perfect, but like perfect is what terrestrial radio is. That's perfect. You aren't that. If you want to be that perfect, go, be a fucking intern at a radio station. You know what I mean? Like, or try to get onto some fucking satellite channel or some shit like that. That's where you want to be. Because like podcasting is supposed to be not perfect. It's not radio. And like, even like the big time shows, like, you really think Joe Rogan's shit sounds like it's perfect? You know what I mean?
No, like even the intros, he's just like, all right, we rolling? All right, Jamie. It's like...
yeah, so like, it's a thing. And I'm just kind of telling them like, yo, stop overthinking this shit. Like, turn on a fucking microphone, do this shit. Do not waste your time going in and editing all the ums and the ahs. That is pointless. It is 100% pointless, and I realized that a long fucking time ago. It is pointless to edit your ums and ahs. I know some people do it, some people really stick to it, and some people really care about their ums and ahs. And I'm telling you, most of the people who listen to you don't give a fuck about your ums and ahs.
Because they're listening to it on 1.5 or 2.5 speed anyway, to where you're like talking like this, but your ums and ahs is like that's basically what they hear.
Exactly. So I listen on 1.5 now. I don't quite listen on 2. I listen on 1.5.
I do 1.5. I just know people who do.
Depending on the show, if I'm listening to something music related, I might slow it down a little bit so that I can keep a better understanding of the music that's being played. I still don't drop it all the way back down to 1. Probably, I'll drop it down to 1.3 or something, 1.2 or 1.3 or something. But the idea that these people think, like, I was just kind of like, yeah. He said, Blue said, I refuse to edit ums and ahs. You listen to yourself, you identify your weaknesses and work on them. Yeah, but you know what? When I focused on not saying my ums and ahs, I said them more. Because I was so hyper focused on it that I said it so much more, and it made me miserable trying to edit that shit. It really did. And I told them like, it's a personal thing for me, but I like podcasts that are basically like a conversation between friends. Mm-hmm. Don't want perfection. If I wanted perfection, I'd turn on the fucking radio. Like, or I'll get fucking satellite, or I'll watch the fucking news. Like, that thing that you feel like is perfection is like that broadcast quality nonsense. It doesn't apply here. It doesn't. And I was just hitting them and I was telling them I told them about everything. I told them about, like, when, the couple of times I walked away from it, like after my separation, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And like, having to get my mental stuff taken care of so that I could pick up a microphone and do this thing that I love doing. And like, I'm an omnivert. There's so much feelings of, I have to do this fucking podcast. But the moment I'm here, everything works for me. He said that's just the initial phase. The more you consciously take deep breaths and use dramatic pauses, you can get around it. You're right. It's not about perfection. It's about bringing the best you and the best you in an imperfect medium. Exactly. There's one lady, she was just like, what, I don't know how my show is going to stand out. What's going to make my show unique? And I was like, you make your show unique. Like, is there another you? The fact that you are doing it makes your show unique. And then she was talking about some stuff like, she was talking about how she's like recently disabled and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, that's the kind of shit I want to hear. Like, I want to hear your transition from what was your normal life to your life now. Like, what does that mean to you? And like shit like that. That's what I wanted to really like. When she's telling me about her story, I'm like, that's your hook. No one can tell me what it's like to there's not very many people that can turn on the microphone and tell me what it's like to be a black person in the South that's disabled. How many people can actually do that?
Right.
So like, and so I'm talking to these people and I'm, like I said, I'm just giving them all kinds of game. And I'm telling them all kinds of stuff. And I actually stole a line. I stole a line from that dude, City Planner Plays, and I hope it never gets back to him, because I don't really follow him on anything except for I follow his YouTube. I stole a line from him, and they made it seem like it was the best line ever. And his line is like, when he's stuck on something and he's trying to get something right, and he stops himself and he says, "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good." It can be good and it can be good enough, but like the more you try to make it perfect, sometimes you're going to make it worse, because you're letting perfect be the enemy of good. And that's what I kept saying, like, yo, stop letting perfect be the enemy of good. Like, we all sound like shit in the beginning.
And that's why, if you go back in history of music, some of the most lauded production values of albums are not perfect. Like, people gravitate towards, like, because I was just thinking about them earlier, is Nirvana's In Utero versus Nevermind as a production value, not by sales or popularity, but like because it is definitely more raw because of Savini, not Savini. I was thinking about him because of Friday the 13th, but okay, I'll think of the name later. But it's not Tom Savini. That's the gore effects guy for.
It's not Butch Vig. He's the Metallica dude, right?
That was Nevermind.
But is it Butch Vig?
Nevermind was Butch Vig.
Okay, but, so that is okay. So so I know my shit a little bit.
Yeah,
I know my shit a little bit. I got it mixed up, but at least I know my shit a little bit.
He was in Big Black and Shellac. What the fuck? Did like the Pixies? It's a name. It's a name like Savini. It's a name like that.
Okay. But like like a lot of times like you can really fuck with your shit, like, you know what I mean, like fucking $3 bill, y'all, versus Significant Other. You know what I mean? Like, we keep bringing it back to Limp Bizkit. We keep Limp Bizkit alive. That's what we do around here. We keep.
You got a new song, Dad Vibes. I haven't listened to it yet though.
I'm not going to. I'm over it. I'm over that part of my life where I cared about Limp Bizkit. But yeah, so I got on there, and then like all of those people who were in that room, they all sent me Twitter. They all followed me on Twitter, so I followed them all back, and I'm just kind of like, hey, you know, I don't really get out here very often. I'm an omnivert. Most of the time, I'm an introvert. But like, if you need something, you need some help, and you got a question or something like that, or you need someone to spark that creativity in you, holla at your boy.
Oh, it's Steve Albini.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that last week, and that was really cool. I had no intention on actually like talking. And one of the dudes, he does his show on Twitter Spaces, right? And is a storytelling type podcast where they kind of cook up a story right there in the room. Dog, he sounds like Colonel Sanders. Like he totally sounds like Colonel Sanders. He has that kind of accent, that Southern gentleman accent. Is a little bit deeper, but he sounds like fucking Colonel Sanders, bro. And that shit was amusing as fuck to me. I enjoyed the shit out of Colonel Sanders. I can't even. I could probably pull up his name, but I don't want to like associate your name with this. I just want to remember you as Colonel Sanders.
You're wrong, Colonel Sanders. Mama's right.
Exactly. So I don't think I got anything much else in the way of life stuff.
Well, I do. Before we kind of get started in consumption and all that kind of stuff,
I was about to ask you.
What is?
Thank you for jumping the gun, Dick.
You were about to ask me? My life?
Yes.
My life? Well, before we get talked about my life, I have a talking point.
Okay.
Is spicy a flavor?
No, spicy is a description of a flavor.
I think spicy is a feeling and not a flavor. Because I was thinking, we were talking about this to where we're like, what flavor is hot sauce? Because, it's not your normal on your tongue, like the sweet, bitter, sour. I think that's it, right? Salty. I mean, I think it can be, different ones would have like salty or vinegar or whatever. But what flavor is vinegar? Is that more of a sour? Or, I guess that would be
vinegar. For me, it's a little soury.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a kind of a mixture of sour and bitter.
Blue says spicy is a feeling or a vibe. I look at it as a description. It's a description of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in slang terms, it's a little spicy. It's like sometimes you can find stuff to be a little spicy. Let me tell you something I was talking to a gentleman about the other day.
Was it a little spicy?
No, let me tell you something that was a little spicy. So my man's what's his name? I can't think of his name. Used to play for the Cavs. Used to play for the Knicks. What is his name? And he was on Dancing with the Stars, right? He was on Dancing with the Stars, and it was really good. He did pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we talked about other like famous stars that have been on Dancing with the Stars, and the only way to describe Jerry Rice on Dancing with the Stars is spicy. My man was a little on the spicy side, and that's the only way to describe him.
But yeah.
It's the show title On the Spicy Side. Oh shit! I gotta pull up the other thing. I don't have my same.
I do think a lot of spicy things are sweet, like in a way, you know. Because I've had Carolina Reaper before, but in like a salsa, and it was like definitely sweet. But it was, I mean, Carolina Reaper is like the hottest natural pepper in the world. Outside of, I mean, you have hotter things that are like not natural, like actual capsaicin or however you say it. That's the thing that makes things spicy.
I know what you mean. I don't really do a whole lot of spicy, but I know what you mean.
But you can have that extract from something, and you make things hotter than Reaper. But yeah,
2 things about Carolina Reaper.
Okay,
2 things. 1, I don't want to put nothing called a Reaper in my mouth. Sorry.
There's a lot of things you don't want in your mouth.
I don't want to put nothing called a Reaper in my mouth. Second of all, have you ever seen? I think the dude's name. He's a
Catfish Cooley.
Yes, when he ate the Carolina Reapers and then drunk a whole bunch of Fireball behind it. Oh my god, that is the funniest shit ever.
My favorite line in that whole thing is when he's done and he's drinking the Bud Light. It's like, now my Bud Light tastes like lemon water.
That guy was funny, but like he had a couple of he had a couple of videos where he tried to do the I'm not a racist but thing, and I had to stop watching his videos at that point. He did a couple of those, like he did a couple of videos of the "Can't We All Just Get Along" videos, and I can roll with that. I really hope that at some point we can all just get along. But the moment you say "I'm not a racist," but anything you say after that "but" is a rap. Is a rap on everything. Is a rap on everything else you got to say. We're done here. Is it Reaper in the mouth? Marauder Shields. Shout out to Marauder Shields. Last bastion of hope and possible cause of the indoctrination theory. Yeah, there we go. Say it. I don't think Marauder Shields was like in place to stop the indoctrination theory. I think he's the reason.
We all bring this shit back to Mass Effect, don't we?
He said it. Blue said it. I didn't say anything about Mass Effect. Even though I am watching that same chick play Mass Effect Andromeda, and oh boy, this shit is rough, dog. This shit is rough because here's the thing: she knows that Andromeda is polarizing, so she decided not to Twitch stream Andromeda. She's just recording the videos on her own and just putting out the videos
because she didn't want no like,
the backlash in the chat, like that type of shit. But here's the problem: Andromeda got some things about it that, like, you might need a motherfucker to explain. You know what I mean? Like the research system, like, huh? You know what I mean? Like, huh? What are we doing here? Like figuring out when you get to the remnant things, and you got to climb up on shit and scan the glyphs and all of that other stuff. Like, somebody may need to fucking explain that shit to you. And like, she did a lot of just kind of like failing into place, I guess. And I skipped through some of it because I'm just like, I'm not about to sit here and watch you after every fucking mission go back and talk to every single member of your crew. I don't think that's gonna happen. But I skipped through some of it. But like when it gets to the action or whatever like that, I'm usually watching to see how she deals with stuff. And so, but I am watching her play that. And I was talking to Blue about this. You need her account in the show notes. Her name is Meg Mage, Megmage. Yeah, Megmage, Meg Mage. So I don't want to put it in the show notes because I talk crazy about her not knowing what she was doing. But I find it to be entertaining personally. I do. But she has some weird quirks about her. Like she just be hating on people for no reason. Like, what's his name? The dude who's the engineer? Mm-hmm. Gil?
Yeah.
She was hating on Gil until Gil came out the closet. You know what I mean? Until, because she was trying to see, like, where her place was going to be with everybody or whatever like that. And she, and, like, Gil was not very receptive to her. And then, like, when he talks about them playing poker, he's just like, I don't play strip poker. She's just like, I play strip poker with dudes. And she's just like, oh, he's gay. And then everything made fucking sense. And then the fucking Gil versus, okay, I'm going too far in this, but this is the last thing I'm going to say. The Gil versus Callow conversations, the whole fucking, especially at the beginning of the game, every time you walk into the bridge, the two of them are having a conversation because Gil is changing some shit and Callow doesn't want him to fucking change anything because he was a part of the team that actually built the fucking thing, which Callow is dead fucking wrong. I'm sorry, Callow is dead fucking wrong, and she's always on Callow's side in this. And it's just like, yo, bruh, Callow is wrong about this. Gil is the one that's got to fucking like keep this fucking shit moving. And he got to keep this shit like you got to keep this shit working. If Gil wasn't here, Callow can't fix this shit. He the fucking pilot. You know what I mean? Like, somebody got to keep this thing moving. So, like, if you want to be, if you want to continue to be alive, you need to be on the side of the motherfucker who can actually fix the fucking air.
That's like you saying, on a lesser extent, and be like, I got this system, but I ain't wanting no updates to it. I want it to be exactly how I bought it in 2013.
That's Callow. That's Callow. In Andromeda, that's Callow. Every time Gil makes any kind of changes, he's against that because he talks about all of the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into making this stuff. And it's just like, yeah, but they ain't here.
And they would be wanting you to update it too.
And somebody got to keep this shit moving. Like, somebody got to keep this shit working. And I'm sorry. I'm going to be down with the person who's going to keep my air working. How about that? I like air.
Yeah, but yeah, my life, we did another Hendersonville trip. And that was cool. We had Riley stay back, so we were actually able to, like, not run around a 3-year-old, and Aiden was able to hang out with the people. Because his age, well, the teenagers his age, I guess. It's hard to wrap your head around that you're father of a teenager now.
Shout out to my man Young Riles.
Yeah. I got the PS4 back, and each day I played a different thing that I hadn't played in a while. So, like, Friday night I played some Ghost of Tsushima. Saturday was that was Final Fantasy VII, and then Sunday was God of War. So I played those. But when I got back, it's back to my normal stuff, which I'll talk to later. But
they talk about Ghosts a lot on PSVG.
Yeah,
I say that. Shout out to PSVG. The episode that I'm on right now, Elaine is not there, and I'm sad. I might skip this one.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good game. But we did the second episode of Crucial Core, which is cool. And actually, the third episode should be up by the time this is up. But which is kind of crazy that it's almost been a month. It still seems like I'm just starting this. But yeah, still doing the whole thing with the Crucial Cores.
I mean, how is that really going for you? Like, being out on your own like that? Is it kind of scary? Like, because I don't know. I think I would feel a little. I think I would feel some sort of pressure.
A little. I mean, not really, since it's really just me doing what I wanted to do, which talk about certain things that wouldn't really fit in here. Like we're just talking about Friday the 13th right now, which, you know, on Scarcasm, we wouldn't just like, okay, well, for the next few months, we're just talking about one thing. That's not something we do, you know. Here.
Yeah,
So,
that's something I do on Return to Oswald, and bruh, the show is getting rough right now.
but but yeah, like I mean, when you look at the numbers, I know it's just the people that are watching or the people that I've shared it with. You know what I mean? It's like 8 people basically that have seen it on Twitter and whatnot. But which you know, it was basic. It just spawned off of, hey, it'd be cool to like have seasons in a podcast, but it just change up, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
So I definitely want to change up after this. Change up to something that's not horror movie related. Even though I'm probably going to go back to that. But if I make like, if we do Friday 13th and then we do Halloween, then we do Hellraiser or whatever, then whoever comes then we're gonna be stuck in that, you know, because whoever comes will be there for horror stuff.
And I'm gonna give you this one piece of advice.
What's that?
Don't do Mass Effect. You'll be on it forever.
Well, but anyway, but that was my.
The same way we can't let go of Mass Effect. Like we talk at least a little bit of Mass Effect every show.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the life things. Yeah, I do believe that's all the life stuff.
Okay, so what would you like to tackle first? Because I've watched more than I've played. I've only played one thing, but I've watched a few things, and none of these are really uninteresting. These are all like super interesting things.
I would go with. I mean, I'm the complete opposite. I watched one thing, well, multiple things in the same series, but which I know what that is because I'm doing a podcast about it. But the games, which actually the games I just talked about, I didn't really talk about them. I just mentioned them, but I didn't really feel like talking about them. So.
Okay, so what would you rather do first? I'll put it to you.
Do your watching stuff.
All right, so I'm watching Wu-Tang, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're finally actually recording 36 Chambers in season 2. Finally, so that's the thing. They finally just recorded "Protect Your Neck." Like, okay. So like this just happened. That happened, and you know Wu-Tang has been good. It's just like they've been stretching the fuck out of this shit though. Like I said, they just got to it. They just recorded "Protect Your Neck," so it's been a thing. But so far, it's good. Comes out on Wednesdays, Hulu. That I love Wu-Tang. But here, one thing about they're recording a Protect Your Neck, because it's not the actual rappers doing the raps, and it's like these actors that are rapping as the person that they're acting as. It just don't sound right. You know what I mean? Like they're not using the recording; they're using these actual actors that are actually doing the raps, and it sounds weird. It's not like
you would think they would just did a lip sync thing like they always do. Stuff like
nope.
that.
Nah, but you know what? You know what really changed this? I'm gonna tell you what really changed it. The New Edition movie. The New Edition movie that was on BET. Those actors trained and they sang everything themselves.
I thought you were gonna say Jamie Foxx with
No, because Jamie Foxx did not do the singing in that movie. He did all of his own singing, and he quote unquote saw it before he passed. So he gave his blessing on the movie. But yes, he did his own singing the same way that Tina Turner did her own singing, and What's Love Got to Do with It. She did her own singing for Angela Bassett.
Oh, okay.
So no, I think the New Edition movie where they actually got them in there and they were training, like, those dudes went on fucking tour. after the kids, like the kids version of them and the adult versions of them, those dudes went out on tour. They did a few dates. You know what I mean? Like, so that kind of changed the game for a lot of people. And so like that, but like I said, it just sounds a bit weird, but you know what? I can suspend my disbelief. Like, it's just like, okay, this is, but I'm like, you're finally recording some shit that I care about, so that's good. I'm watching Why the Last Man. Why the Last Man is really interesting because I read the comic books. I don't know if I would be sticking with this if I hadn't read the comic books and had some sort of idea of where this was going. I think they did a really good job with updating it. There's things in it where, when the comic books came out, there wasn't really it wasn't really that big of a deal about. There's a political struggle between a lady who's like the president now, and she's a Democrat, and then one of the Republicans that was supposedly ahead of her in the hierarchy, but she was fucked up overseas. But she's like a hardcore, fucking Republican. You know what I mean? Like, so there's that dynamic. There's the dynamic of trans people now being a part of this. Because the main character is basically, as far as we know, he's the only man to survive whatever fucking happened to all of the male creatures on the planet. So like, there's that aspect of it where it's just like, but then you see these other dudes around, and it's just like, oh, they're trans. That's what it is. And they talk about like trying to have more testosterone available to keep up and all this kind of stuff. And then there's this side story. There's a side story that was not in the comics at all about a trans man that is with one of the main characters of this, and how you see how this new society of just women is treating him because of what he chose for himself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you see, like, all of the men are gone. They're in this group that's basically a man-hating group. But then you have this person who chose to be like a man here, or who chose to be a man, and who, and it's just like this the dichotomy of dealing with that in the world that we live in now is a lot different than it was in the comic book. So there's a lot of things like that are different from the comic books, and I find it to be very, very interesting. Would it be interesting for me if I hadn't read the comic books? I don't know. I just want to see where it goes and the changes that they make. That's pretty much what I'm looking at right now. Just what changes are you making to this? Because I know how it went then. I just want to know how it's going now. So I watched a movie. I watched Tenet. Let me say this first. Tenet is a quintessential Christopher Nolan movie. It's very well crafted. It's very visually stunning, and it's confusing as fuck. Like, most Christopher Nolan movies, you have to watch more than once. Like, you have to watch this more than once.
Right.
And do you know anything about Tenet?
I just know that it's by him.
Okay. There's basically, in this world, somebody in the future designed something to make things go backwards.
Okay.
Time-wise, they can go backwards. Things can go backwards. And basically no spoilers or whatever like that, but basically the movie does not happen in one straight line.
Okay.
So technically the movie, and this is not a huge spoiler, because Christopher Nolan has said this on many occasions in the press releases up to whatever. So technically the movie starts here. It goes up to a certain point, and then it comes back, and it's basically ending around the exact same time that it started. It's not in the same place, but it's ending pretty much at the exact same time where the movie starts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just interesting, of people going forward and backwards in time, and like, like these things are happening, and like, so you are seeing people move backwards. Like, like if someone went through this situation and they are backwards in time, and then like you are literally seeing them moving backwards while you're going forward. It's the weirdest thing. And then the battle at the end, I can't wrap my mind around the kind of mind that would think of this. You know what I mean? Like, it is the most mind-bending shit ever. Like, it is completely, like, really? Like, how the fuck did someone think of this? But it's on HBO. It's on HBO. I watched it on the HBO Go. That's pretty good. And I fell into the hype and I watched the Squid Game.
I've been hearing some stuff about that.
I mean, it's pretty much all anyone is talking about. So, yo, dog, that was some good shit. Now, here's how I fell into it. I watched these videos on YouTube, and it's these movie explained videos where they basically like explain to you everything that happened in a fucking movie in like, 10 to 15 minutes. So you ain't had to go watch the whole fucking movie or some shit that you were unsure about. They do full spoilers. They explain the whole fucking movie in a very, very short amount of time. So I was watching a couple of those, and I clicked on one, and it was someone explaining episodes 3 and 4 of the Squid Game. Because it didn't say that at the title. A lot of the titles don't say what the movie is. It just says, this thing happened in this movie. You should click this to find out, basically. Like, you should click this to find out. That part is inferred. But it just says, like, so-and-so has to play a deadly game of hopscotch. And it's just like, okay, I have to figure out what the deadly game of hopscotch is. That part isn't a spoiler. It's not, I'm just saying, like, that's how they get you into watching these movies. So I watched that, and then I was like, okay, so do y'all have the video for the first 2 episodes? So I went back and I watched those first 2 episodes. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch this. So what I did was I just kind of skimmed through the first 4 episodes to watch all of the bits that they did not cover in those videos. A lot of the personality bits and the parts that don't seem to matter very much to the story. But some of it honestly matters a lot to the story. It's just you don't realize how much it matters until you're finished. So I went back and I watched those in between bits, and I fast forward through all of the stuff that those videos told me, and then I watched pretty much from 5 on. It's 9 episodes. I watched from 5 on, and I watched them shit straight, dog. Like, no breaks. I watched them shit straight. That's how into this shit I was at the time. So I watched all this shit on Saturday, and man, this is some wild shit, bruh. It's like, it's only a place like Japan or Korea can come up with this shit. Do you know anything about the Squid Game?
No.
Okay. Just brief synopsis to kind of get you in. A guy who is down on his luck money-wise comes across someone who plays a game with him and offers him money. He gets to the point to where he wins some of the money, and this guy is like financial hardship city, like, so like after they part ways, the guy gives him a card, and the guy gives him a card and said, hey, if you want to win some money, you want to win some real money, call this number. And it's like, oh, okay. So basically, a bunch of people ends up calling this number, and they all get brought to a place where they have to play games, and basically elimination. They have to play games to try to win money, and I'm saying nothing else.
Okay.
It's really stinking good, and I watched the dub. I know a lot of people care about subs. I don't. I watched the dub, and I was perfectly fine with the dub. I know that some people saying that there was a problem with some of the translations for the dub, and I ain't had no issues. Everything worked out for me. It's
Well, it
great.
seems like a show that is not anime. Seems like the sub is less hard to keep up with because anime just moves so fucking fast.
Yeah, it's all. It's Korean, but like the people that they have during the English acting, they do actually pretty good. Like they do really good, except for in one instance, and I think this is on purpose. There is a part where some other people come in, and the acting of those people is atrocious. I mean, it's bad. But here's what I think, though. I think that it was done on purpose because those people are a representation of us, the audience, who is watching this like, give me more. I think it's bad on purpose. I can't confirm that, but I think it's bad on purpose. But like that shit was really stinking good. Like, and I'm going to start watching. There's a new show that's out. It's on Hulu. It's called La Brea.
Okay.
A sinkhole opens up in California, and people fall in, and apparently it takes you to another world. It's very Lostish. It has kind of a Lostish kind of feel to it. But they like a big sinkhole opens up in California, and like I saw this from the preview. I didn't watch the episode yet, but apparently those people who fell through to some other world or some other area or wherever. Like there's something down in that sinkhole that took these people to another place. So I'm probably gonna watch that sometime soon. All right, I'm done.
Word, man. Well, I watched one thing, which is the Friday the 13th series, to stay up on that for the podcast. But as of games, still doing Mortal Kombat 11. I'm still on the Aftermath. A lot of this stuff, like, I've been like really kind of behind on. Played a little bit of Half-Life 2, like, before we were about to leave. I don't know why I started playing that. Like, I feel like doing that. But Ghost of Tsushima is really fucking good. But I don't want to delve into another like big open world game until I'm done with at least Red Dead and Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm actually to things I haven't seen before, because if you know, before like at the end of last year, my hard drive went out and I didn't have PS Plus, so none of my saves got uploaded. So I pretty much had to start over that game.
And that blows.
But I'm actually completely past where I am. I didn't mind it too much because a lot of the beginning of that game is just really good. But still, but I got PS. I was like, well, if I'm gonna be playing some PS4 games, I'll get a PS Plus code off of like CD Keys for cheaper, and I'll just have it for a year because I want to have my saves, But,
yeah, that shit sucked for Pooh Bear, because like at one point Pooh Bear was the only person to play my PlayStation, and I turned my PS Plus off because I wasn't using it. There was no point in keeping this shit if I'm not going to use it. And her saves went away because they were PS Plus cloud saves. So all of her saves went away, so she had to start everything over.
Huh. Well, but I think if you get PS Plus Black, you can get those saves back. You just have to download them.
Likely, but I don't see myself getting PS Plus at all. There's no point for me to get PS Plus. The only reason why I would get PS Plus, here's one reason why I would get PS Plus. Well, first of all, I can't afford it right now, so it's not really in the cards.
Well, yeah.
There's two reasons why I will get PS Plus. Is if for some reason I happen upon a PS5, which I don't see that happening anytime soon, or if I wanted to start the divisions over again and just go to clean slate, start completely over.
Yeah,
and play.
And I have
and
the play. If you did want to do that, I have the PlayStation right here. So I'm like, yo, every time I have this and somewhere else, it just sits and collects dust. It's going to be right here, and I'm going to be playing it if it's going to be anybody. You know what I mean? So that'll be.
I think the only thing that I really played on my PlayStation, honestly, was I play a lot of NBA Live. Mm-hmm. I played a pretty decent amount of NBA Live because I really, really enjoy that game, and I'm not a 2K guy at all. And NBA Live, I can play offline.
But I mean, I do have some PS5 games because of Plus, and I got Miles Morales, and that came with the PS5 version.
I thought that was a 5 only game, but apparently someone told me I was wrong a while ago.
Yeah, I think the only 5 only games right now, there might be some more, but I think it's like that Returnal game. I think the new Ratchet and Clank game is 5 only. But yeah, but yeah, that God of War, man, like I started that over, but I didn't really play that much into that. The fighting in that game is so fucking satisfying.
Fighting in that game is ultra fucking frustrating trying to learn how to use that stupid fucking axe. I'm sorry. Once you get it, you got it, and it's just, okay, I understand this. But the fact that it doesn't work like the other games, you know what I mean? Like, it's a completely different type of situation, and I'm just kind of like, I did not like it at first.
It's been so long since I played a God of War that I'm like, I would probably have to relearn how to play God of War now. So
Blue said the Demon Souls remaster is PS5 exclusive, and also the KOTOR remake is a timed exclusive.
Yeah. I heard the Demon Souls thing is something to see. That
I saw someone on a video said that they bought the Demon Souls people.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
The company that makes those, Sony bought them
from Software. Well, I mean, if anybody was going to buy them, it would make sense for that because they did also have Bloodborne, which was.
It's just those.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still Red Dead, and I'm at new territory in Red Dead 2 because I fully passed where I was on the Xbox because I started over on the PC because I'm not really on the Xbox anymore because it's in my son's room.
Okay.
But and what is it? Scarlet Nexus. I'm like on the 10th level or something. I think there's 12. So I'm so like close, but like
the Demon Souls the developers Bluepoint Games is who Sony acquired.
Oh, okay. So not From Software. So this so the guys who did the remaster is who they got.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what else has Bluepoint done other than that?
Let's see.
But while you look up that, I was just saying that the Scarlet Nexus, Nexus and Mortal Kombat, I just need to finish those, man, because I know that Red Dead is just so long, and I'm almost done with those. But sometimes I'm just not playing games or whatnot.
They did. It looks like they did. The Uncharted collection. They did the Shadow of Colossus collection. They did. Looks like they did one of the ports of Titanfall.
Oh.
Gravity Rush. They did Titanfall for 360. They did the port, I guess.
Well, porting games and remastering games is. I mean, I'm not a developer, but I would assume that's a far cry from making your own game, right?
Yeah, but like you can. I mean, it depends on what they're making, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what they're making. If they're making another Souls type game, well, they already know how to put one of those together. They already have the blueprint for putting those, like Blue Point, but they have a blueprint for putting everything together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw in a video that that's what happened. He said yes, they've done all of Sony's good remasters, Uncharted, Shadow of the Colossus. He said they are remaster gurus and know what features gamers want. They add nice features, 4K, high frame rate, high FPS, etc. But like, do you know the guys who did the porting of KOTOR are the ones that are doing the remake? They did the mobile ports. They are the ones that are doing the highfalutin port now. So, Aspire from Blue. Thank you, Blue. Yeah, Aspire is actually the ones that's doing this. So, like BioWare don't got nothing to do with this at all. So this would be
but it seems like they're wanting to keep the story the same. I mean, they can change up everything except for the story for all I care. I want that because I wanted like a remaster of that and it make it more action oriented versus that weird. Because it's not even like turn based like Persona. It's like a weird like queue system. It's a very weird combat system.
Yeah, they made it better in 2. It was a lot better in 2. The combat system was a lot better in 2, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna play it anytime soon because I don't plan. When I get enough money for one of these consoles, I'm not buying a PlayStation first.
Well, hell, you can't get either one of them, and I am not getting a fucking Xbox S. I'm getting a fucking X or like a PS4, a PS5.
The only reason why I wouldn't want an S is the space concerns.
Right, because there's no space and no disk drive. Like if there's no disk drive, it should compensate with space.
I don't care about this. I don't care about the disk drive. Like I have a bunch of games. I have a bunch of discs, but I also still have my Xbox One, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, because I would say I wouldn't care about the disk drive, except that I mean the back compat is a big thing for me because some of my games that I like a lot that I first played on like the 360 era are not on anything but that, and I'm not getting the fucking PS3.
A lot of them shits is on Game Pass. Like it's all in the game, dog.
Yeah.
So, all right, what else you got? Because I only played one thing.
Oh, that's it, man.
Okay, so I played Halo Infinite, the beta test that they just had last weekend.
I almost did, but
when I got in, nobody was really around. Because I was trying to set up to play with Sam, but Sam sent me a text message to say like, hey, I got something going on, I'll probably be around later. But he sent me that message right when I was look, I'm getting off for a while. I was going to try to snack and eat something, that type of stuff. Let me say this, Halo Infinite does exactly what I needed Halo to do. Halo Infinite's multiplayer seems like an extension of 3, and they skipped 4 and fucking 5. Thank goodness. It seems like a modern extension of 3, and that's the most important thing to me because I'm on the record that's saying I was not a huge fan of 4 and 5.
But I've heard that 5's multiplayer was better than 4 though. Just not the story.
It kind of was. It's just like I don't necessarily care for either 4 or 5.
Okay.
Not really my bag. I played them, I finished them, I'm certified. I have no unless somebody actually wants to play, I don't see myself wanting to go back and play it all. That's just me. I guess it's a personal thing, but I don't see myself being like, no, I really want to play Halo 4 right now. Never. I will never think of that. The other games, maybe. If I want to be frustrated, I play the old EST. So, but like this, it's really fucking good, man. I mean, it's really good, and it's just like, they haven't said anything about the campaign, and they did say that the campaign, that co-op and Forge are not going to be available on launch. All right, cool, because the way this game plays, I don't need y'all motherfuckers when it first came out. When it first comes out, anyway. I don't need y'all. Like, I want to play through this game, and I want to be certified on my own. I do not want my first playthrough to be sullied by y'all.
Well, I do think that. I mean, I can the Forge thing. I mean, I know the hardcore make Forge maps, but they don't make that day one. But how I played like co-op, Halo has always been a co-op experience.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you something. I hope like fuck, man. I really hope someone says we need to keep the modes with the bots. We need to keep the modes with the bots, because you know what that shit reminded me of? My favorite mode in Call of Duty games, team training.
Mm-hmm.
Team training in Black Ops games is the most important mode to me, because I get to play and my friends can join me, but I don't have to play with the public. And that is super fucking important to me. I don't like playing a lot of games in the wild. It's just not my jam. Never gonna be my jam again. I think I'm out of that. I'm out of versus modes. I'm more of a co-op guy now. I hope they keep the bots, because that shit was fun. Even though I came in dead last, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I came in dead last on my team. I still had so much fucking fun. That game is. So far, I don't know anything about the campaign. I know the multiplayer is going to be free to play, and they did a cool thing. They gave you a bunch of money, and they had a version of the store up for you to buy a whole bunch of stuff. You could buy a battle pass, you could buy some skins for your weapons, you could buy some different armor pieces and stuff like that. They gave you enough money for you to buy all of it, just to kind of get you into the mode of how this thing is going to work. And you know what? I'm kind of interested in buying some shit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. If I find something that I really like and I think that fits me, I think I'm gonna fucking do that shit. I'm not gonna spend like a whole bunch of money. If I find something that I like, that I feel like fits me, it makes me feel like I am separate from everyone else, even though that may not be true, I might actually buy it. I think so. I think that shit really, the way that they have it set up, it really just kind of works, and I'm happy with that. The game is as advertised so far, other than the single player, the story mode that we don't know anything about yet. I hope that like I said, I hope they keep the bots. I hope that like a firefight type mode is back, or like a Spartan Ops type mode. Firefight or Spartan Ops don't fucking matter to me. And I hope that matters for some of these unlocks in the multiplayer.
Because we played a big game night on Father's Day, and we didn't go online at all. We just played firefight and we just killed each other, and that was a good time. And none of that was like actual like matchmaking.
Yeah. But I think you're probably going to have to do some of that stuff in order to do some of these things to unlock more pieces. Because they did that for the game, but it had been so long since I played. They do seasons and stuff like that for you to unlock stuff and skins and all of that kind of shit. I don't really deal with all of that stuff now, so I don't know it all and how it works right now. But in the Master Chief Collection, but I think this can work. I really do think this can work. That's the crazy part. I really do think this is. Not that I think this can work. I think it's going to work. At least for a little while, it's going to work, and that's good. That's a good thing for Microsoft. They need a win.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're selling pretty decently, but they need a win, and this is a win for them. Absolutely. I hate that it has to be like another Halo game. So next thing you know, we're looking for a new Gears game or some bullshit like that. Or I think they needed this, and the extra time they're putting in is enough for them to succeed in this, and I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% happy about that. So you should have played. If they ever do any other beta or some shit like that, you should totally play because it feels new, but it still feels like Halo.
That's good.
And that's the most important thing. It feels right.
Is there sprinting?
I believe so. And I'm not a sprinter in Halo. I'm not team sprint. But yeah, this game just feels right. And like I said, it feels like an extension of 3, which is the best idea whoever came up with that did. It's like, yep, let's skip 4 and 5. Let's go back to what made 3 good.
Well, 3 is my favorite multiplayer.
I think 2 is still my favorite multiplayer. I got a lot of mileage out of 3. 2 is still the pinnacle as far as multiplayer goes. I'm sorry.
I hear that.
Yeah, but three is up there. 1 is not one wasn't originally multiplayer. It was more couch co-op. And yes, I used to have those parties at my house and would have 3 groups of 4 in 3 different rooms, all playing fucking Halo. So yes, I used to be that guy. Yeah. So I'm off that now. This game is fucking dope. This game fucking dope.
We could bring the LAN party back.
I don't know if we really want to do a LAN party back. I'm not trying to be in a room with y'all niggas like sweaty and stinking and you know what I mean? Like those days are over. Those days of like, you know, like the fucking the extra life where like a bunch of dudes just get together and we're all hanging out in someone's fucking basement and we do the extra life thing and we just kind of rotate in and out and just kind of play games on the side and shit like that. That shit is done for a while. That shit is done for a good little while.
Yeah.
COVID fucked all that up. Shout out to the people who still out there on this extra life. I want to do it so bad, but then I keep thinking about like I would love to stream, and I'm just not set up to stream.
Could you do you could do Extra Life premieres on YouTube?
What's that?
Or you just like make a video and premiere and you're just out in the chat.
Oh, okay. That's possible. I've always wanted to do that with podcasts, to be honest. I never cared about doing live podcasts. I want to do a podcast, broadcast it live, and I be in the chat with everyone else.
Yeah. You can be in the chat right now.
I mean, I kind of am. So, yeah. All right. So I think we did it, man.
Yeah, because I'm getting tired, getting a little.
You're all yawning and shit. Like, fuck out of here.
Rubbing my eyes.
You're like a little kid. You sleepy? No. No, you're rubbing your eyes and you're yawning. You are clearly sleeping. No, I'm not. Like that's basically you right now. Man, thank y'all for checking your boys out. Go listen to Crucial Core. Right now they're doing the Friday the 13th series. Chase actually got me to record a promo, and I'm not gonna say how many times it took me to actually get that right, but
hey, it takes me a lot of times to get some of my shit done too. Like when I'm not actually podcasting and I'm actually trying to do something like an intro or something, I fuck it up so bad. Like that little thing for Anchor or whatever for the make the money or the paid thing. Like I even had to say Anchor will post your podcast, which is not true. They won't post your podcast, but for some reason I could not get the word distribute out.
Right.
It's like I fucked it up every time. I was like, okay, they'll post it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So yeah, I'm just kind of. I don't have all of the deets with me right now, but do the things like, share, subscribe, tell your mama them, tell your cousin them. That's what I said on the thing. I added that. I added that part because I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Man, just thank y'all for checking your boys out. We'll be right back in your ear holes in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And send us your questions. I still want to do an AMA episode. We might need to okay. I'm thinking we should just steal some questions from PSVG. People ask them questions all the time. We should totally fucking tell them about the greatness of fucking pancakes. Like, we should totally do that. Because people don't believe that pancakes are as great as they are. And that is a fucking travesty. These goddamn French toast people need to go down. Waffle peoples are just kind of like, but like French toast people need to go the fuck down.
I mean, I love some French toast, but like, I don't understand the pancake hate. Like, maybe they just had bad pancakes.
I don't know.
Maybe they don't have put no buttermilk or nothing in there. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. So, all right. So, yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. For the homie Chase, I'm Scar. This is Scarcasm, and we're out of here. Peace out to the warriors. Yeah.
Later.
I like that shit, yeah, boy. Look, I'm telling you, Whoa. I'm telling. All right, I ain't gonna talk.